Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at Bitcoin here. And when I say quick, it'll be shorter than usual, of course, just to kind of jump into the obvious, right? We expect the price to come down. It's coming down now. Curious how much lower it could go, right? That's kind of the question at hand. So we'll address that and obviously a few other things. New to the channel, not a financial advisor, just love teaching people how to trade. And I hope you can learn something here today. I have a trading community if you're interested, CryptoCache.tech. I actually help you become a better trader both there and also by structuring trades for you too. So I send out signals for every single trade that I take. We took a nice short on Bitcoin yesterday and it worked out very well. But taking a look here at Bitcoin, of course, simply put, 1 day chart, we're testing that 50-day simple moving average, right? So this is a point of contention in a lot of ways, whereas, if we do lose that point, it will be considered to be under the moving average, and that's usually working as a resistance at that point. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean we're just going to keep pushing the price action down, or we get one candlestick close below that and we're stuck underneath there. That's not the case. It's just that once we get a few days under the 50, then we can kind of essentially consider it to be more of a bearish type of sentiment, again, on the short term. Bitcoin can very well recover from this. This is not a big deal. This is pretty standard stuff, but we do have a tremendous amount of volume at 41,000. So I want to kind of just point that out. It's actually 41,000 slash 41.5, at least if we look in the most recent past, right? So if we look right here, there's a lot of volume over that weekend, right? So there's a lot of volume accumulation. So the price were to continue to progress downward, we could see some support about 41.5, 41.6. If we lose that, there's not a lot of volume, at least in the recent past here, until we zoom out to this point here. So 38,000 would likely be the secondary support below 41.5. Okay, and the main reason why is, of course, we saw this big dip down, right? And then of course this big increase up. There's literally no volume in this channel right here, and that's a potential problem because of course nobody really cares about the price at that point once you get below 41.5. It's not like established territory, so we're gonna have a next major support right here at about 38, right where the price action couldn't get any higher for a couple of days, and then it shot past that, right? So ultimately, that's just kind of what you want to look for. So DCA targets if you're going to work your way down from Bitcoin. First major target is 41,500. I think it's likely we're going to hit that. In fact, if we look smaller time frame, it does look like we almost hit that already. So we are testing that, so to speak, within the last 24 hours. Again, it's just something to be aware of. But yeah, 41.5 would be the primary, and then 38, right around 38,800, or we could just say round number 39, just so you can get filled. If the price were to wick down there, so 39,000 would be a pretty good estimate there as a good DCA target. Also, too, bear in mind 40,000 is also a potential support. There's not a lot of volume there, of course, but Fibonacci retracement is kind of telling us that could be a place of consolidation, or potentially a retracement to that level would be pretty much a normal thing, right? So to throw it out there, 41.5, 40,000 and 39,000 be the most immediate targets, even though 38 and lower is essentially where the most amount of volume is. You could still get filled at a slightly higher price point. The price doesn't want to come down that low, right? Sometimes you'll see some candle wicks down. Anyway, so that's kind of the good DCA targets there. Just kind of throw that out there so you understand what potential we might see here in the near future. Again, 41.5 should hold, but it's hard to say. Now the question is it going to hit there this weekend? I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Weekends are typically pretty stagnant in a lot of ways, right? We saw this was last weekend here. So it's a lot of it's volume accumulation, right? So again, just pretty much adding at a specific price point. 42 might be the most immediate bottom. We may not see anything lower than that. We got the Super Bowl tomorrow, and then of course the Fed meeting on Monday. So honestly, it's kind of a flip of a coin right now. What could happen? It's really hard to say. I want to short Bitcoin again, but honestly, I'm gonna wait and be patient because weekends are, I don't know, they're not the best volatility not the best amount of volume, right? We have less volume, therefore more volatility, so to speak, at least in a strange kind of way. Lately, weekends have been pretty uneventful, so I would recommend maybe sitting on the sidelines, not going too crazy until we have a definitive direction. And we should know that direction come Monday, right? And again, as a community, we have roundtable discussions on Tuesdays, so we'll go ahead and talk about that, of course, at that point. But between now and then, I just recommend kind of being cautious and careful and just DCA for the moment. Don't do anything quite significant because there's no definitive direction, right? At least we can see this consolidation period forming. It should be very similar to before, right? I don't think that we're going to see, even though we're going to see some commercials and a lot of stuff like that on the big game, that should not influence the price action that much, in my personal opinion, right? Even though we know KuCoin is pretty big, they're going to be trying to push that. I wouldn't expect a dramatic change, right? Just based on the overall sentiment going into the weekend. That's my thoughts there. All right. So I wouldn't expect any pumps. If they were to, they'll be immediately dumped. So just kind of be aware of that. Anyway, so to kind of summarize here, I said I'd make this quick. I'm so sorry. Let's go ahead and summarize. Once again, we're below the 50-day simple moving average on the 4-hour chart. I mentioned previously in my video yesterday that we'll see that tested in the near future. Well, it was tested and immediately rejected. So it just blasted almost straight through there. It did hold for about 8 hours, right? Came down and kind of hung out right there at about 42.5, but eventually lost that. So that's kind of where we're at there. Not great. We're also under 50 on the RSI. That's basically what I was talking about too, is not being a good sign. It's not that it's bad per se by any means, but it just implies that we're more so bearish, and that now that 50 on the RSI is above the price action, it's going to be considered a resistance, right? So we're going to be playing below some major resistance levels soon. The 50 SMA on the 1-day, 50 SMA on the 4-hour, and of course we're under 50 on the RSI here as well. Okay, so again, not phenomenal. This really just kind of more adverse, so to speak, or just kind of reiterating the fact that we might be in this zone for a little bit longer than anticipated. And again, if we drop sub 41.5, then of course we'll be kind of hanging out in Beartown for a little while, right? So Chicago Bears all over again. All right, so taking a look here at Ichimoku Cloud, this is pretty much telling us we should keep our short position open, which we got hit. Our trailing stop loss hit, so we're out of it. Of course, it's not a big deal. But generally speaking, when you look at this, you see the lagging span almost coming to the price action. That kind of tells us that we probably want to consider selling our position, and that there may be a reversal soon. Oftentimes that's what happens. Now going into a weekend, we probably won't see that. I'm not speculating a significant increase this weekend, regardless of how amazing the advertisements are tomorrow. That's just my personal opinion. I hope it's different. I hope we get a pump and we can get right back up overall moving averages, but I don't really see that happening. And if it does, just know Monday's going to be a weird day, and we don't truly know what's going to happen. There's likely an increase in inflation, and that will probably drive the price down. How hard? It's hard to say, but we lose support at 41.5. Again, 38/39 is that support zone based on volume, and we may not see a lot of support between there. So just, again, something to understand and consider. So again, right here, this kind of tells me that we may not want to consider a short position, even though it does feel like the bottom's going to drop out. I think that the price is more likely to go down than it is to go up right now. You might want to kind of wait on the sidelines, no pun intended, and just kind of relax and take it easy. Again, just depends on your overall risk tolerance and where you're at with things. Looking at TDA sequential, you can see we got just a bunch of resets here. We came all the way down to a 9, of course, and then just kind of trailing down and up to 4s, 5s, and 6s. So nothing spectacular there. Honestly, not too much to really note here, minus just the simple fact that we are making lower highs and lower lows, and I think we'll continue to do that until we're in the clear and we get some kind of reprieve, hopefully maybe mid to early next week, depending on how the news folds out, right? So just be cautious and careful. That's all I'm asking. So it's just kind of a public service announcement to relax and take it easy. I would not consider over trading in the immediate future, right? I mean, I never recommend over trading in the first place, but some people just love trading. They can't live without it, right? I personally rather take 2 or 3 trades a week and feel fine with that instead of just 2 or 3 trades a day. But everyone's different, right? So just be careful is all I ask. We shouldn't see dramatic spikes or increases, at least in the next 24 hours. We'll reevaluate tomorrow. It might be a slightly different sentiment, but the bottom line is that we are on the downtrend, right? The trend is your friend, so respect the fact that it's coming down, and to take a long position right now might be a little bit on the risky side, okay? Just some friendly advice. I hope you learned something here today, and obviously if you didn't, that's too bad. I hope you learned something next time, and just know that I make Bitcoin videos every day, and of course I do have a trading community and a trading academy with a series of videos helping you become a better trader. Check that out. The website is CryptoCache.tech, and I look forward to getting to know you better, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. We'll see you soon.